Did you know that Mortal Engines is directed by Christian Rivers and not Peter Jackson? Did you also know that I thought this movie was directed by Peter Jackson? And also that the only reason I wanted to see this movie was because I thought it was directed by Peter Jackson? How do I put this delicately? Mortal Engines sucked. If you liked Jupiter Ascending, or Valencia, the city of 1,000 something or another's, you may like what this has to offer. This has a lot of those same fixings. Bad characters, terrible storyline, action that's very forgettable, and really a lot of different stories you've seen other places kind of mishmashed together. These are always tricky for some reviewers because they don't want to offend the people that read the books. I don't care about the people that read the books. The movie should stand on its own. I've always felt that way. I will always feel that way. How many of the millions and millions of people that watch Lord of the Rings do you think read the books first? Regardless, it's one of the best trilogies, nay, the best trilogy of all time. I didn't read those books. I got everything I needed out of the films. If anything, it just encourages you to go into the books, learn a little bit more, or see what they changed. Same could be said for Game of Thrones. Never read those books, love the TV show. Harry Potter's another perfect example. Read the books after watching most of the movies, and I thought it was a nice compliment to what I'd already seen. So all that said, I knew nothing about this movie outside of the one trailer I had seen 7,000 times before each movie and was bored out of my mind at it. There was no real character to latch onto in those previews outside of the woman with the face covered up because she has this horrendous scar, which is nothing more than a small little ripple across her face, looks like a beauty mark. I mean, this actress is still beautiful. Also want to point out that you do find out how she got that scar, and it does not line up. It doesn't match with the attack. Character's name's Hester Shaw, played by Hera Hilmer. She's kind of downtrodden, off on her own, walks alone, Oleander, for those of you that are a fan of that band from the 90s. Extremely obscure reference. She joins up with Tom Natsworthy, who likes history, and is also a pilot, or an aviator, I believe is the term they use. He lives in London, which isn't a place anymore. That still it's on wheels and it moves along the land, as do all the other cities and countries and or whatever's left of this world that was destroyed in less than an hour by something, by beams that came down. I think the world attacked each other in a war, but it was very glossed over and never really mentioned again. It's all about the destination, not how you got there, I guess. Which is nice for this movie because you're constantly switching to different destinations and you don't know how they got there. We're introduced to a character around the halfway mark who's this T-1000-ish sort of villain that's stalking its prey, it's stalking Shaw, and I have no idea how it's tracking her. You never see it do anything remarkable outside of the fact that it's strong. But I don't understand anything in this world. Nothing makes sense. There are tons of characters introduced simply to color up the palette. That's great, but have them do something. Most of these people have like 2 lines of dialogue and they're killed and we're supposed to feel something for them. I'm sorry, but you didn't earn that. Lord of the Rings earns their deaths. I think the best character is female Neo. I don't know her name, but she's got the shades on, and everything she says is a one-liner, and every time she shows up, the camera's just like super invested in her. But we know nothing about her. So she shows up and she's in like this stoic hero pose, the music's blasting, and all I'm thinking is, why? This chick sucks. She does nothing but like wink at the camera constantly, do something in slow motion, and is completely forgettable like everybody else. There are 2 characters in this, hot blonde chick and pretty boy, who at some point find out a secret passageway that most of the people of London know about that goes up 1,000 stairs. So they take this climb, they come out of a sarcophagi, and they see that there's like this Nazi party that's making this killer weapon. Okay, fine. But then they're gone. They just disappear for like 45 minutes only to resurrect at the final hour. Just the blonde though. The guy's gone. We never see him again. And everybody on London just sucks. They're all terrible people. Yet Tom, for some reason, wants to save them in the end. He's like, we can't kill these people even though they're fucking awful. And they're awful because London, as I said, is a vehicle, but it needs to fuel that beast. So it's roaming the world, or what's left of it, gobbling up scraps and parts to keep the machine running. So it's just ripping apart smaller little towns and cities that are trying to drive away. There's a cool opening act for about 15 minutes, and that's really all this has to offer. I went into this movie with a common cold, and I came out with cancer. That's how bad this was. And I didn't have any expectations going in. I thought, okay, Peter Jackson may not have directed like I thought he did because the marketing told me he did, but he has his hand in it somewhat. He's got his dick in this somehow, so maybe it'll be good. No. I was wrong. Don't see this movie. Let it fail. And I understand a lot of people work on these and they put their blood, sweat, and tears into it. I mean, what does that mean? We give them a pass? You know, I have another job too. I'm a full-time web designer and developer, and if I make a shitty design, they tell me. They say, you need to do this again. This is bad. You can do better. And someone should have told the director, the writers, whoever was working on this thing, this is bad. We're not going to be able to make more movies off of what we have here. Fantastic Beasts: Crimes of Grindelwald looks like an A+ movie when you compare it to this. That's where we're at.